how long have you been with us, and where did you come from?
So I actually celebrated my 2-year anniversary on July the 5th. That I officially decided to join FFL July the 5th, 2 years ago. So I've been with FFL for 2 years. I've been full-time since December of 2020. So I've been full-time for about a year and a half. I had no sales experience, no insurance experience, no nothing, man. I graduated from a college in Central Virginia, moved to Los Angeles, and got my business management degree and started bartending to try to figure out what I was going to do. And next thing I know, I turned around and I was 35 years old going, I'm still pouring drinks. What is going on here? So got on Indeed, Craigslist. I was one of those guys that, woke up every morning looking for that next opportunity. Came across a Craigslist ad, hopped on the phone with Andrew Taylor. He said, you live in Phoenix, because I had moved to Phoenix at the time. He said, you live in Phoenix. I got just the guy for you. Grady Polson, he's a monster. Got on the phone with Grady, went down to his office on July 4th, 2 years ago, was super impressed that Grady was in the office on July 4th. And the next day I started studying to get my license. So that's kind of a quick how I ended up at FFL. And let me tell you something, it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. So you said a couple of things. So the next day you started studying to get your license. How long did it take you to get your license?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So 2 weeks to get your license. So for all you people that are starting out hiring, not a knock on you if it took you longer than 2 weeks, because you're here now and that's all that matters. But as you're hiring, you should be setting that expectation that it shouldn't take you longer than 2 weeks if you're serious about this. And I think Clay would argue that there's some pockets in there where he could have accelerated that process and got it done a little quicker if he had known really what he was getting into.
Oh man, every day was money lost. Every day that 2 weeks, if I'd have done it in 8 days or 7 days, or hell, we had a guy do it in 2.5 days. So that's money lost.
So also the other thing that he mentioned is Craigslist. And I think a lot of people are like, where do I start hiring? How do I get going? And Clay came from Craigslist. He's obviously on this call because he's doing a lot of things right. So Craigslist is probably, aside from War Market, the lowest barrier to you building your agency, because you can literally place an ad on a Friday so people can see it on the weekend and on a Monday and spend $50 a week, one ad, and just get your feet wet recruiting there. So let's I just wanted to make sure that everybody kind of caught that. I know they were enchanted with your story, but make sure that they caught those little gems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just subtly sprinkled in. So you started full-time 5 months in. What took you, don't take this the wrong way, but what took you so long?
No, I'll take it the wrong way, because I was a wussy.
Okay.
I was a wussy. If I would have started, listen, I had no prior experience. I knew I could do it. I'm single with no kids. I don't have any debt. There was absolutely no reason why I shouldn't have gone full-time like day one, other than I was a wussy. And so my biggest regret is not going full-time right out the gate. So I was a bartender. And so I would bartend at night. I worked 6 nights a week, and I would do FFL during the day. There'd be days where I'd go write $3,000 on a Saturday afternoon and then go to the bar and work all night making $300. And I'm going, what am I doing here?
Yeah. What are some of those, just for everybody else that may be going through the same things, and I'm just going to steal your word because you said it, so now I don't feel bad. What are some of those other wussy tendencies?
Is that again?
Some of those other wussy tendencies that you exhibited that prevented you, that kept you in your own way, for lack of a better way to put it.
I would say that was the biggest one. I understood. Innately, I did some things right. And then obviously I did some things wrong. I didn't have a problem with investing money on leads. I've got a very strong work ethic. So when I wasn't bartending, I was dialing, I was running appointments, I was doing all that stuff. But just something in the back of my mind was like, it was the stability of that little
Of
bit of money
$300.
and I was making, but then I finally realized something. I'm like, man, I'm stepping over dollars to make pennies. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
So I finally, in December of, it was pretty much December, January of 2020, I was like, okay, it's either make or break. I don't want to keep doing this. Like, I love FFL. I love the system. A lot of people have started to become like family to me. And I made the decision in January, my first full-time month, I did 42K. So it was like, and literally I'm very hard on myself. So rather than being stoked about the 42K, I was thinking about the 5 months prior that I could have been making 42K. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So what does that $42,000 a month schedule look like for those people that are just getting started, or those people that haven't written 42K?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no secret here. I think if you've watched any type of training here at FFL, is I just followed what those had done before me. And so it was $2,000 a week, 30 to 35 appointments a week. I knew that my skill set had not quite caught up to where it should have been. So I let my work ethic carry me into the month of January. So what I did was I ran a lot of appointments. I had a low closing ratio, but I just ran extra appointments. If I didn't hit my goal, which was 10K by Saturday, then I would go door knock on Sunday, or I would try to book appointments in between on Sunday. So I think that all that I did was I had plenty of time now to run it like a business. It wasn't part-time for me. So $2,000 a week, 30 appointments a week, will get you 10K. I think if you ask any Hall of Fame producer, they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah. No, thanks for simplifying that for us. So first full-time month, you write 42K.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best month that you've had since you've been here?
I did that April. I did just under 70K, which I know you guys got some monsters on your team. So that's like a typical day for like Giordano and some of these other guys. But that was a big month for me.
I think that's a big month for everybody in this agency except for Steve and Ivan. They're the only two that
I know
Ivan's
Ivan's a monster too.
Yeah, so I'm impressed. So let's turn the page a little bit. Obviously, the production is simple, and I couldn't have said it better myself. What you accounted for early on was the lack of skill set, and over time, the consistency helped you develop that skill set, which propelled you to that 70K month 5 months after you went full time. So when did you start hiring?
I kind of hired by accident my first month or two. I had a couple buddies that I bartended with that I told about the opportunity. And, listen, it's like I said, it was hiring by accident. I simply just opened my mouth and started telling them about FFL. And so I had a couple people writing with me right out the gate pretty much. They went and got their licenses because I would show them, I'm like, look what I wrote. I'll show them. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, here's my deposit. This is what I got. So that, that swayed them quickly. I didn't really know Grady is very good hire. He's awesome. He's built a massive business, and he would talk about hiring, but I was still trying to figure it out on the production side. So I would say that pretty much January, right when I went full time is about when I started hiring. So I've been hiring really, really hard. I started hiring in January. I'd say about April, May is when I started getting after it. So I'd say really getting after it about a year, something like that, a little bit over a year.
Okay. So when you started in January, did you start the same place you came from with Craigslist, or where did you start? And when you say really started hiring, how did that change?
No, that's a great question. So I listened to a call that Ivan did, and I couldn't agree more that when you're able to write at a high level and you want to build a team, you got to understand that you have to invest in your business, and everything works a little bit. There's not one thing that I could tell you that's like gangbusters for me that I just get a ton of people from. I do a lot of different things that get me a little bit of people, but it's a lot of different things that add up. So, I like your Craigslist, your ZipRecruiter, we've got different campaigns that we do with Grady. We've got a LinkedIn campaign. I do different funnels. Warm market. I just think that if you want to hire, you want to take this seriously like a business, you got to understand that if we had all one place that we could fish in, we'd fish there. If we were catching fish all day, every day, but it's a lot of different ponds that we're going to catch a little bit of fish in. So it's the same principle. So you just literally diversify your lead flow just like you do with personal production. So if I got money in Zip and I got money in LinkedIn and I got money in our high level campaign, and then I've got money, in different places, or if I got recruiters, I'm getting a little bit from different places. So on the hiring side, you can almost apply all the same principles with selling to hiring, pretty much. Everything works a little bit. And as long as you're consistently investing in your business, you're going to start to become successful.
100%. And I think the biggest takeaway, and the thing that jumps out at me the most, and for everybody else on the call, is to treat the hiring just like you do on the appointment side. And I don't want to take away from it, because they all have access to me on a day-to-day basis. But for you, what does that mean when you say hiring is just like running appointments?
So I think that we preach about it being a numbers game, right? So when you put the numbers in your favor, you're able to be unemotional about it. I was very emotional in the beginning about hiring, so I I believed Johnny Smith when he said that he was going to be a monster and come in and write 50 grand, and then he goes out and gets punched in the face one day in the field and cries like a baby and quits. And I'm going, dude, I just spent all this time with you. So it's the same principle as only buying like one batch, a little bit of leads, and you go and you're battling with Mary in the home for 2.5 hours, begging her to buy a $20 final expense Eagle. So if you diversify your lead flow and you're spending a lot of money and you've got plenty of leads coming in for hiring, then I'm very unemotional, because here's the thing that I kind of understand. This thing has changed my life. I have what they want. Just like I have the product that Mary needs, I have FFL, and there's a reason why you filled out that form looking for an opportunity. So you're not interviewing me to see if this is a good fit for you. I'm interviewing you to make sure that I want to work with you, because I'm so busy and I've got 40 other people I got to talk to today. I don't have time to be emotional about it. It's either, look, this train's moving, you either jump on, or maybe it's not the right time for you. I'm gonna plug you in the Facebook group. I'm gonna continue to drip, and then you'll join when you're ready. It's either way. Like Sean Mike is great about talking about that. Hey, look, man, I'm moving. Either you're with me or you're not. If you're not, then when you're ready, jump on the train. If you're ready, get to going. Let's go. So I just apply the lessons where if you're running 32, if you're spending $2,000 a week on leads, 30 appointments a week, I don't have time to be emotional about, appointment number 4, on a Tuesday when I've got 20 some other appointments for the rest of the week. Same thing with hiring. I don't have time to invest emotionally in every person I talk to unless they're ready to get going. Then I'll spend a little bit of time with them. I'll find out their why. And then either they're going to do it or they're going to not. It has nothing to do with me. The system is the system. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just become very unemotional about it. I have a servant's heart and I love to help people. But at the end of the day, like, I know this works. You don't. And it's up to you to figure it out on your own, following the system if this works. And it's strictly work ethic. This thing all boils down to work ethic. If you have a good work ethic and you've got a good attitude, you're going to make it, right? But if you don't and you have a bad attitude, deuces, because you might as well go work for someone else.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think I understood, or I was of the same mindset of across the board, except for the part where I don't actually believe that I need them, but I don't think that I had the mindset that I had what they needed the same way that I do on the phone. Like, I have what you requested. I have what you need, because I've seen your posts about you being broke. I've seen your lifestyle. I've heard your complaints about you not having any money. I have the solution. Don't act like you're doing me a favor by joining me. Well, and I think that's powerful.
Absolutely. And hey, look, man, I was able to retire my mother this year because of FFL. I've been able to help family out. I've been able to change my world. So like, I know this works. So look, we've got what you need. So either you're going to come and do this and be successful, or you're not. I'm going to be here to support you, love on you, be there when you need me. But ultimately, it's up to you. We have the car. You just got to get in and drive it.
Yeah. Hey Clay, aside from obviously starting to hire earlier, thinking about building a team and running business, if you could talk to yourself when you left Grady's office, what's one thing that you would have told yourself to make sure that you incorporate or make sure that you do as you start this journey?
I would say run, don't walk. If I knew what I knew now, then I'd have run out of that door. I'd have gone to the bar. I'd have put in my 2 weeks, or even said, "Look, dude, I got a boogie. Like I can't be here anymore." And I would have immediately started hiring. I would have done everything sooner. Is really what I'm getting at. I would have gone full time. I would have dumped every dollar I have into this thing, because at the end of the day, this is time. Every week that goes by is time that you're not building your business if you're not treating it like a business. So the biggest thing for me is, I did some things really well in the beginning that I kind of pat myself on the back on a little bit, but I did a lot of things wrong. The good things that I did was I immediately hired an assistant. I immediately started spending money on recruiting. I mean, I had an assistant before I was even full time, just because Grady was like, "Yo, like you're writing 15, 20 grand a month part time. You should get an assistant because it'll help you. It can help you with hiring and stuff like that." And I just was like a deer in the headlights. I was like, "All right, cool. All right." I just said yes to everything. Grady says, "How much can you spend on leads or invest in leads in a month?" And I said, "How much should I?" And he said, 8 grand a month. I said, "Done." So like, going back, I would change some things. I would move faster, and I would say, I mean, I pretty much said yes to everything he asked me, but I would probably be a more aggressive is pretty much what I would do. This is all a business of just speed.
Yeah. Now you said you didn't have any previous insurance experience. You were still pouring drinks right before you came in the industry. Weren't you concerned about looking stupid in front of the client because you didn't know anything about products?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Weren't you concerned about looking stupid in front of the client because you didn't know anything about products?
No, man, honestly, like that wasn't anything. So my dad was a pastor growing up. So like I used to go, like he'd do like in-home visits with people. So I was very comfortable going to people's homes, number one. I'm very self-deprecating. I make fun of myself all the time. So I don't really give a rip if someone, thinks I look stupid or whatever. That's number two. And number three, I just really believed in the system. Grady's like, "Look, dude, you're going to go in, you're going to fill out this financial inventory. You're going to call me when you get done with it. You're going to call your local field or your product specialist, and I'm going to tell you what to write." I'd seen him do it a million times. He was writing 30, 40 grand a month. Other people were doing it. And so I just believed in it. So my first appointment, I went to a lady, it was on a random Sunday. I went to her home, did the financial inventory. I called, Grady answered second ring. I said, "Hey, look, I think I know where I'm going to go, but I just need you to back me up on this." And I went through it and wrote the policy. And I walked out going, Lord have mercy, was that easy? So I was sold after day one, dude. I didn't really need, this thing works, man. Like there's a reason why we're growing like we are and have the sales and all the families we've protected. So I think we've just got a great system. So for any of you guys that are brand new, it's this, everyone, Ivan, Wayne, everybody has already laid the path down for you, right? So all you have to do is follow them. So when they tell you that this is the way that this is going to go, it's how it's going to go. You're never going to go to Wayne or Ivan and go, "You're never going to believe what happened." Yes, they will. We've run thousands of appointments. So when you say that, you just gotta understand that like when they tell you like you need to call me in the home, that's because they've had 200 agents call them in the home prior and they've written apps. They're never going to tell you to do something that's going to be detrimental to you, because that'd just be silly. Why would they do that?
100%. 100%. I'm gonna if you have a few more minutes, open it up to questions. But before I do, I'm gonna see if Ivan has anything else that he wants to ask, or make sure that he pulls from you for the sake of the team, and then we'll just ask them to unmute and let them fire away.
Sure.
I'll just ask my favorite question is what is that one thing that if we get off this call and start doing immediately is going to change everything?
If you really truly make up your mind that you're going to spend $2,000 a week and run 30 appointments, everything else is nonsense. If you buy $2,000 a week and run 30 appointments a week, nothing else matters. You're going to make $10,000 a week. You're going to change your life. You're going to understand this is real. So that's what I challenge my agents to do. If 10 Hall of Famers tell you that they spend $2,000 a week and run 30 appointments a week, why in the world wouldn't you do that? So that's what I would say. And everything else that's surrounding it is nonsense. The no-show is nonsense. The hang up is nonsense. It's white noise. It's just a means to an end. If I get hung up on a Monday morning, it does not affect me in the least because I know that I've got 15 appointments that I'm about to book because I spent $2,000 on leads and I know that I'm running my numbers. Run your numbers. That's what I would just beg and plead to all of you is run your numbers.
Love it, man. And just wanted to say thank you. I mean, we definitely appreciate it. Love the call 100%. It's definitely different. So the way you deliver everything, Clay, love it. Absolutely greatest call. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate that, man. And I just want to say to you, dude, like, I've watched tons of your videos. I've watched you from afar. It's an absolute pleasure to be on the call. I'm over the moon to be able to pour into your team and just want to say congratulations on all your success. And anything I can do for any of you guys in the future, do not hesitate.
Wait, we're not letting you go yet.
That's fine. I just want to tell him.
And we're just getting started. We're just getting started in both ways, Clay.
Like
we're just getting started, like period, and we're just getting started on this call. So let's ask some questions, guys.
Cool. Hit me.
What do you guys?
I got a question. On the growing side, for your recruiting team, do you have a set expectations as far as a certain number of recruits and hires they need to make, or are you just looking for growth, period? And is that enough, or are you actually holding them to specific numbers?
That's a really great question. So kind of a hybrid of both. So if we're growing, I leave it alone. If we're not growing, it's like, look, 15 non-licensed, 15 licensed agents a week. Okay. So it depends on how you set it up. Like, how many recruiters do you have? You have one? Okay. What is your expectation for them?
Well, at this point, I'm expecting at least like the 10-10-10 kind of scenario. I'm trying to run by that,
Yep.
by those numbers. But since I just started, I know that I shouldn't judge it immediately. I have to give it some time to see the growth of it. So I'm just kind of in between as to how long should I be waiting to kind of measure my growth based off of the numbers that we're trying to hit.
Yes. Now let me reverse engineer this a little bit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to say it out loud, but like you need to take a good hard look at your business and see how much money you're spending on the marketing side. Because if you're going to set expectations for your recruiter, you need to give them the proper amount of leads to work through. If I'm spending $1,000 a week or $1,000 a month on leads, I can't go to my recruiter and say, look, you need 10, 10, and 10, because they're just not going to get the leads. So you need to reverse engineer it. You need to look at how much you want to grow month over month. It needs to line up with the FFL growth rate. You also need to figure out how much you're going to spend. And then also, here's the last thing I would tell you is just like dialing, you need to acquire that skill set too. So you should be hiring just like your recruiter as even more. And then you can take that skill set and you can help them. Because it's just like a new agent, they need to get used to how we recruit, how we present ourselves, how we position ourselves. So I would say reverse engineering it, see how much money that you're spending, go to Ivan or Wayne or whoever you work with and say, this is how much I'm spending. And then you can set some expectations as to your recruiter. But if you go 2 months in a row with no growth, get rid of your recruiter or reevaluate where you're putting your marketing dollars. Hope that helps.
Excellent advice. Thank you. Yeah, it does.
Yep.
Thank you.
We can't let it be the silence on the call. Come on, guys, we're better than that.
Great question.
What's up,
Clay,
bro?
what's up?
What's going on, man?
So, without going into a whole lot of detail, I've made some mistakes hiring agents. And can you give me a snapshot of what it looks like when you bring on a new agent? How much time that you give to them, and at what point do you start paying them more attention? Because we all know I'm starting to really understand the 80-20 rule. So at what point, or what are the key things that you start noticing about an agent, or is there a threshold where you're going to say, okay, this person now is worth my time?
Okay, so that's a very loaded question. I think Ivan and Wayne will back me up on this. Okay, so number one, dude, newsflash, we've all screwed up on recruiting. I mean, there's not one person in FFL that's got a perfect, bringing in to getting out in the field ratio. So we've all screwed up. That's number one. So don't beat yourself up. Number two, repetition, you're going to become better. All right. So here's what I do. And this is what I do personally. This is how I evaluate it. Okay. For me in the beginning, it's all about attitude. I'm going to meet them where they're at. If they get through contracting quickly, if they're on the team calls, if they're buying leads, if they're doing the things they should be doing, I'm going to give more time. But you need to back up a little bit, and you need to set that expectation in the beginning. Look, dude, I'm busy. Like, I position myself as being busy. I've got agents and I'm writing 10 grand a week. So I have a limited amount of time. This is how you're positioning yourself to the new agent. I have a limited amount of time that I can give you. And I'm not going to give you time if you're not on the calls, if you're not buying leads, if you're bitching a little bit. I'm sorry. If they've got a bad attitude. Like, I think that and we've never met. I don't know like how long you've been recruiting, but I think you can kind of gauge it in the very beginning. If they come in, they've got a good why. If they've got a good attitude, if they're doing what you say, then I'm going to give you more time, right? I'll give you a great example. I have a girl by the name of Darlene Moore. She's a monster. She started with us about 3 or 4 months ago. She's written it's like a really, really nice amount. She's hit 50K like 2 months in a row. She came in, she said, I've got kids. I've got to make this work. I'll do whatever it takes. Great attitude. I spent a good amount of time with her. Another agent started with her, said, I'll give this a shot, see how it goes. Didn't really buy many leads, nitpicked about the leads. Like, I think that once you get going, you're going to pick up quickly on who you should be spending time with. And I'd be willing to bet that you, just like I did, and I still do, to be honest with you, I don't have this thing perfectly down, but you want it so bad for the person. You want it more than they do. And you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing because you want to grow. And in essence, what's happening is you're hindering your growth, as opposed to, hey, look, dude, either you're getting on the train or you're getting off. Like, what is it? You're 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Sure you don't know anything about me?
But listen, we've all been there, dude. But here's what I would tell you. It's just like selling, right? I'm not going to haggle back and forth with Mary over the $30 a month Eagle policy if I have 27 other appointments, right? It's the same thing with hiring. If you're not spending a lot of money on marketing, everything affects everything, right? If you're not spending enough money on marketing, then you're only bringing in a couple people a week. You're living and dying by those couple people. Okay. So when Johnny says, I got $100 to spend on leads, that's all I want to spend. Okay. And you're going, okay, well, you got to work these, and you're going back and forth with him, and he gets on the call sometimes, and he's hey, look, I've spent $100 on leads, and 2 of the leads were bad, and you're getting that kind of feedback. I run for the hills, and I tell them, I challenge them. Andrew Taylor had a great line. He was like, I challenge them. I'll tell them, you know what, dude, I don't think you can do this. Just my personal opinion. I don't think you're cut out for it. I love you. I want nothing but the best for you, but you don't seem like you want this bad enough, and you seem like you need a job, not be a business owner. And I know that sounds harsh, dude, but I'm telling you, man, and I think Ivan will agree, and any other person that's built a big business, is time is the most precious thing you have in this business. And I cannot spend my time with people that are not going to reciprocate my work ethic and the amount of time that I'm spending with them. I meet them where they're at. I spend very little time with the people that aren't selling. I had to spend no time with people that aren't selling, or even if they sell a little bit and they got a bad attitude, good luck getting me on the phone, because I have to protect my time. I'm right. We said in our agency, we run with the runners. You run with the runners. And look, dude, it's mental, right? Because you're like, I want to grow, I want to hire, I want to do all this stuff. But dude, you'll know when you found some good people, and you'll know when you've got people that are going to stick. You'll know it because they're on the training. I don't care if they're terrible at sales and can't dial for anything. As long as I can help work ethic. Lack of work ethic, I can't do anything with. I hope that answers. I know it was long-winded.
No, I got you. I'm tracking. I appreciate you, man. Thanks, Clay.
Absolutely, man.
And I'll just add 2 cents here. It's about just setting short-term goals and expectations and giving an agent one thing to do. And if they get back with you, then, I mean, they get back with you. If they don't, like, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Hey Clay, I have a question.
You're in, man.
So the thing I'm struggling with the most is time management. I mean, I'm pretty good schedule and stuff like that, but I'm struggling trying to figure out how to do both agent and recruit at the same time. I haven't hired an actual recruiter yet, so I'm kind of doing everything, wearing multiple hats. How do you, like, was there a specific day you only just did recruiting and schedule those appointments, or did you blend it all together?
So I'll give you some, hopefully this will be some good advice for you that resonates. Okay. Mondays and Thursdays, I'm not doing anything until I book my appointments up. Your business, you'll go out of business real quick if you don't protect your dial time on Mondays and Thursdays. But what I would do is I would start as early as humanly possible and start at 7:30, whatever. And my goal was we have a saying in our agency, like, I'm going to reward myself with being able to recruit by booking up my schedule.
Hey, what do you mean you
So-
go with the box? Isn't it in my nightstand?
So are we good? So basically I Mondays and Thursdays, I'm not doing anything. I don't care if someone calls me. That's the holy time. That is when you're booking. So Mondays and Thursdays, book your appointments up. As soon as you're done booking, as soon as you've got a full pack schedule, 8 to 10 appointments a day, then you can reward yourself with recruiting. Now, here's where the scheduling comes into play. Dude, there's a ton of time the rest of the week to recruit. Bro, you've got morning times before you leave to your appointments. You've got in-between appointments. Once you get done with appointments, you've got Sundays. I mean, here's what I would say about scheduling. Dude, you've got way more time than you think. But here's where people get this messed up. It's all about treating it like a business. You have to plan. So when you sit down on Sundays, you need to plan out your week. Okay. I'm dialing on Monday. As soon as I'm done dialing and I've cemented all my appointments, then I'll be able to reward myself with recruiting. Okay. And trust me, dude, when you start writing 10 grand a week, you'll be able to hire a recruiter real quick. But until then, you need to do it on your own. Okay. And when you're doing it on your own, trust me, there's more time than you think there is to recruit. Okay. Guess what? If you got an appointment at 8, you guys are Central Time, East Coast agents, you can call before that. Right. So it's all about planning. Okay. So sitting down, being disciplined to understand that, like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not taking any calls. I'm not doing anything on Mondays and Thursdays until I'm done booking. And then I promise you'd be really surprised how much time that you do have. I mean, dude, you got 5 days other than that to recruit in between appointments, whatever the case may be. So does that answer your question, or do you want me to elaborate any more?
No, that makes complete sense, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. That makes a lot of sense.
Business owner, dude. Business owner. If you owned a restaurant, you would make sure that you were prepared for Monday over the weekend.
Yes,
So
sir.
have everything affects everything, dude. Sunday, I'm sitting down, I'm printing out my leads. I'm making sure that I've got everything I need for my dial day. Okay. When I'm done with that, then I'm prepping my week to call agents back, or I'm calling agents on Sunday. Sunday's a great day to recruit. We do something on our team where, like, we challenge each other. Like, hey, I got two people into licensing and contracting today, and we'll just kind of go back and forth. So Sundays is a great day to recruit. And like I said, in between appointments, you know, you've got plenty of time to recruit, but don't let that recruit dictate your schedule. You're busy. So get it in where you can fit it in.
Got it. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, I think we have time for one more. Who's the lucky one? Who's got a question?
Clay, are you using what recruiting system are you using? ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Craigslist? Like, what do you
Everything.
use? Everything.
Everything. Yeah. I mean, for real, everything. LinkedIn, I do a funnel on Facebook. I do Facebook ads. I do, we have a Facebook campaign that we do. I use everything, dude, like everything. Because like I was saying in the beginning, I don't know if you caught it, but everything works a little bit. Okay. So you're never going to go up to Ivan or anybody that's built a big business and say, hey, where do you get all your recruits from? They're all going to say the same thing. It's just like leads for production. I don't have one lead source. I have a bunch because everything works a little bit. I'm not dependent on one thing.
And the reason why I ask is I'm going to start to recruit here within the next week or two. And I'm thinking, in order for affordability, I could go Craigslist and get volume via Craigslist, but obviously quality is probably going to be less. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of trying to gauge when it comes to that as to, all right, you know, should I give it a try, $40 a week or $40 a month or whatever it is through Craigslist?
So are you cool if I give you some personal coach or some coaching? You cool with that?
Yeah.
Write 10 grand a week. If you write 10 grand a week, you can spend as much money as possible on recruiting. I spend 12 to 15 grand a month on recruiting. And I can do that because I go write 10 grand a week. So I don't, you know, that would be like I said, everything affects everything. If you're writing at a high level, you know, look at across the company, the people that are growing like a weed and people that are, you know, getting integrity deals and all that. Your Dave Witcher built a massive business, but he hit Hall of Fame last year. So he could dump money back into the business. So and once again, not to keep on bringing up Ivan, but I listened to a call that Ivan had the other day. I did exactly what Ivan did. I put money in and I failed at things and I tried things and things worked and things didn't work. But when you write at a high level, you can absorb that kind of that L, which turns into a lesson. Yep. You know, you can absorb that because you're writing at a high level. It's really hard to build a business on a shoestring budget. So that would be my advice. If you can go write 10K a week, put your oxygen mask on first before you try to help others, right? So if you write 10 grand a week and you able to take 5 of that and dump it into recruiting, it's a 2-year plan, my man. You're trying to get the integrity deal. You're trying to build a big business. Yeah. And if you can put 15, 20 grand a month into recruiting, you're going to expedite that process. Make sense?
Yeah.
But everything works, dude. I mean, everything works a little bit. I mean, listen, man, I literally hadn't been on Craigslist in forever. And I'm not, I do Craigslist a little bit, but like I do a whole heck of a lot of things. But like everything works, man. I mean, I came from Craigslist, dude. Like I try everything, social media marketing, everything, bro, everything. But I can do that because I write at a high level and I can afford to.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.